Welcome back to the Be Ruthless Show. I'm your host, Sam Ruth, and joining me today is Sara Duke, a real, live Colorado native. They exist. She's been involved with nonprofits for over 20 years. She began and founded Rocky Mountain Active 20 to 30 in 2008 to assist underprivileged girls get scholarship funds for school. It is the female version of Denver Active 20 to 30. Also in 2008, she was on the board and helped start Kemp Champions and served as their marketing chair. She also served as the marketing chair for Easter Seals and has volunteered with the Fine Arts Foundation Rotary Clubs, Larimer Humane Society, Boys and Girls Club, Young Professionals, Elway Foundation, and Colorado Hospice Care. Just a few. Being involved with the Denver community has remained a passion of hers for so many years. Thank you so much for being here, for everything you do. I'm so glad we've connected.
You are such a dear. I love it. Yeah, I can't believe I know I'm a native to Colorado. There's so few of us. And yeah, the nonprofit world has been fabulous. I've done it. My joke is I started at age 3 when my mom was very involved, and she's been involved, of course, for a long time as well. And so she would take me to these events when I was this little kid and dress me up in a fluffy dress and a big bow and put a balloon around my wrist. And I'd go table to table and say, "Hi, can you please help support this cause?" And I was off to the races. So I've loved it. And Colorado has, I believe, 20,000 or more nonprofits in just kind of the downtown suburb area. So if there's a need, there is a nonprofit. Yeah, and we're teamed up with the radio station. We're also teamed up with 2 nonprofits with them as well.
I've told you, oh my God, are we freezing? That you have changed my perspective, being here for just over 10 years. It is viewed as this nonprofit place, but I have struggled connecting with the nonprofits that do the work that I do, that share the missions that I share, that you would think would welcome each other with open arms. I don't know if you have to be from here. I don't know what it is, but until I connected with you, it was a different world for me. So I love the relationship. Sometimes it is who you know. So talk about it all from your world, because it's very different than mine.
Like specifically the nonprofit world and the connections there?
Just any of it, because it's been difficult for me to get my foot in the door up until recently. And I think from anywhere else, people have the perception that it is how you're describing.
It is, that's a great question. Since I am a native, I've been immersed in the community my entire life. I did live in California a couple years, and it's a different community, of course, different people, different values, not bad, good, or different.
We are freezing on here.
Oh, sorry. We still good?
I think we're freezing.
Okay. I can still hear you.
Okay.
I can still see you and hear you.
Okay.
We're still there.
StreamYard's been moody with me.
It's all good. That is life. This is what we were talking about earlier. It's the roller coaster of it. So yeah, I think a lot of times it is the people that you know, and you say, "Hey, here is what I'm trying to do." And I love that the title of your show is Ruthless. It is to be ruthless and relentless and pound down doors if necessary, to say, "I am trying to change the world, and I'm going to change the world. And are you going to help support me and join this cause with me?" Doors, no matter where it is. When I worked for the Pepsi Center for a couple years, and that I had to break down the glass ceiling. That's for sure. Like, here's what I want to do. Here's my background. And it was trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and not giving up. So that's what I do in life as a parent, as a friend, as a businesswoman, in the nonprofits especially. I mean, you hear no a whole bunch of times to get to that first and second and third and 50th yes. To say, how can we work? And to me, it's all about community, no matter what. It's joining forces with people who have that same motivation, that same drive, and to have the similar fabric that makes us up. So you and I, a step at a time. So however we can do that through our different connections is what it's all about. So sometimes it is. It's not always right in that moment, but things always seem to kind of materialize.
You spend your time supporting all of these other causes. Tonight, you and the radio show are going where?
Oh, tonight is awesome. So I am very, very blessed. I love working for K4CO Radio. I am the VP of Media Relations and help with the marketing. So tonight, we are actually going to go to Emporium Brewing this evening with Foundation 1010. And they are a fabulous nonprofit that support firefighters and police and all of our first responders. So Leslie and Brooke have started this a couple years ago, and they support wholeheartedly our community and those that go and serve and protect. I couldn't be more thrilled for all of us.
Oh, we froze.
Oh, sorry. We're back. We're all good. We can roll. So yeah, Foundation 1010 is one of our nonprofits that we're partnered with, and then TAPS, which is Tragedy Assistance Program to help survivors for those that have lost people in the Marine, the Navy, the Army, any part of the service in the military. We help with suicide. We help with removing, rehoming. We have grief camps. I mean, it's very similar to what you are doing. So it's finding the need and sincerely helping. I think when your heart is in the right spot, then things just start to happen. And it takes a while. This doesn't happen overnight. At least that's been my experience. It's knocking on lots of.
Right. So that's what you're like me, spending time working here and there. But then you're also out speaking, sharing your own stories, because most of us who do these things, maybe your mom was just doing it because it feels good. I as a kid, my dad said, I would just get sad anytime I saw someone hurting. But we also usually have a story of our own. So even when you're not working, you're still kind of serving.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, I think it becomes who we are, to have that empathy or sympathy for other people. I started my own dog training business almost 11 years ago, and I thought about it today. I'm outside in this beautiful Colorado weather, and I get way more out of it than they do. I mean, the unconditional, and it helps me be in the present moment. And I'm so enamored and in love with these innocent, beautiful creatures. And I try and bring that to different aspects of my life, is to have that joy go with me when I can. And I love speaking at different groups and meeting different people. I find people fascinating. I mean, we all have our journey of what got us to the spot we're at now. And I love hearing people's stories. It entices me to find out more. K4CO was a part of Colorado Women's Day, where we got to broadcast live, and I was so fortunate to be on the panel with amazing women like you. I'm like, oh my gosh. And these youngsters who are 16, 17 that have started their own companies and are on national honor societies. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's so cool to find out what drives people. So I love it. I love being out in the community, meeting people, seeing how we can reach a goal together.
I think, like us, right? We are surrounded by people who do this. So sharing our story seems normal. but we're the minority, right? Like most people are afraid of public speaking. It's one of the top fears out there. And we aren't just getting up there being assigned a topic, for homework to memorize a president and talk about something, right? We're sharing our own personal stories that are going to change others, but have been impactful, have been life altering, right? So yours is, people think we have one story, right? You
Mhm.
have many. And I said to you before we started, is anything off limits? And you said no. You're like me, you're an open book. You have so many things that help so many people, and it's so rare. It's things people don't talk about. It's actually the things most people, mental health, stigmatized, but parts of mental health are really, really stigmatized.
Absolutely. Yeah, nothing is off limits. And I agree. We don't have one story. We have multiple stories. I am in recovery from alcoholism. That was really hard for me. I had to get over what was taboo and what's off limits. And every time that I am asked to speak to a group of anyone, I don't care, I love telling my story. Because if I can help, it gives me goosebumps just even saying it. I understand that it can be really scary, and it is scary to be in front of people. But to me, I never look at it as I am judged or I'm going to be criticized or any of that. My entire purpose to be on this planet is to help or educate and or change and or do something to help another individual. That's entirely my MO. And if I can do that, that to me is a success. My dad has this beautiful phrase of, if we all do a little bit of lifting, it will help the world. And I completely adhere to that. And if one person hears my message of, here's the journey that I took, here's how I went and got help, and I had to say, I need help, I am really, really hurting, can someone point me in the right direction? And someone always does. Someone will listen and say, go to this meeting, go reach out to this person and try this different avenue. Truly being in recovery has been the hardest and the biggest joy of my life. The other hardest part was my son, who was born 5 years ago. And I had a massive blood clot that almost took him and me. And I have never felt physical pain like that before. And the grief that I had to go through with that scenario. And then he was born and found out he had to have open heart surgery, which he had at 1.5 years. He had 2 penis surgeries. My milk didn't come in, so we were dealing with mother's milk, which they're fabulous, by the way. So I was having my own trauma, my own physical trauma, the what did I do and screw up? I had to go through that process of trauma, and I had to figure out how to be helpless and understand that things are out of my control. And I literally told my son this morning in the car, who's now 5 and amazing and crazy. And he said, do you want the car to move faster in front of you? And I said, sweetie, do we have any control over the traffic? And he says, no. I said, do we have any control over any of these people? He said, no. But what can you control? He goes, I can control my reaction. I'm like, I have won. Like, those are the little moments of like, yes, like if all of my life leads to this point, and I have been able to teach one small thing to maybe change the course for the better for another human being, what else is life about?
How many 5-year-olds know that, right? When is that taught in school?
Well, that's a great question. I know that they talk about boundaries. They talk about like the personal boundaries of it's okay to say, I don't want to hug or just do the little fist bump. So they do talk about that, but it's really to understand and be okay with who you are. It doesn't matter if you're angry or sad or disappointed or joyful. I mean, I think we as humans put so much weight on different things of how we should or shouldn't feel. I can't stand those words. I hate the word should, because it's placing a judgment on something that instead of acceptance. It's like, we are in this moment, embrace it, feel it. A feeling won't kill you. It's terrible to go through. And think how much we're going to learn going through that. So, and I learn a lot through joy, but man, I learn a lot through grief too.
And so, the stigma of recovery, the people who are in recovery staying silent because of fear of being judged, there's so many people who they are not helping. Whether I have clients who are afraid because of their careers that they just can't share their stories. And so as I did my summit in December, I was shocked that that was the category that I had the hardest time finding speakers for.
Oh, interesting. I will always, I will volunteer if you ever need someone. And I understand that. I mean, I really don't. Here's how I feel. My life is an open book. And if people want to be around me, great. If they don't, great. I don't judge anyone by their path, by their history. I accept them for who they are in this moment. That's awesome. I do it's Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, you have NASAGA, you have a whole bunch of these. And, I haven't really run into that where people have broken my anonymity. But I'm also very open about it. So if people, I'd be like, oh yeah, like I don't need to hide behind that. But I understand, especially early on, people have that stigma or being scared. But man, I was scared to be in it still, to not have help, to still be sick and feel trapped. So that's how I look at it. And man, I want to rejoice on the other side and say, guys, come join me with the unicorns and rainbows and embrace the healing. I do. I love, like, the tunnel really has that bright light, but you still have to go through the tunnel.
And we hear things like our secrets keep us sick, and that phrase is so used. For me, I'll tell you from the other end, child of an alcoholic, and I was not allowed to discuss it, right? And my brother's 7 years younger than me, so he doesn't even remember it. His life is entirely different than mine. So there were times where I thought, did I even live that? Did that happen? But the stigma, the fear, the judgment around anyone knowing the family secret wasn't my secret. So part of me being so open and truth and authenticity being so important to me is that I wasn't allowed to have it. And it wasn't even my own secret. And that burden, like, I always felt that burden, whether it came out in health or anxiety or whatever ways it shows up in our mood, in our grades, in our behavior, relationships. And so I know the other side of not being allowed to talk, even though it wasn't my own. It's not fun keeping anything in that way. So look at it from any angle, whatever you're not telling, right? I just went through stuff that I didn't talk about, and eventually I ended up sharing, because if we keep it in, it just doesn't feel good.
For sure. I have had to break down many different walls in my days. Thank you for sharing that. I've yet to meet someone where alcoholism and addiction is not a part of their family. And mental health and physical abuse and emotional abuse, it is so prevalent. And why we don't talk about it is beyond me. Talk about something that brings us together. And it is family rules and societal rules. And who on earth created all of this? This goes back to the should and the judgment, right? You're supposed to look a certain way. Why? You're supposed to act a certain way. Why? I mean, I love that you said the authentic self. That is such a tremendously powerful statement. And it's so true to honor yourself and to be okay in your own skin. And it is hard growing up. I mean, I think we all have these family dynamics and they know how to push our buttons because they're the ones who put them there. And I challenge my family. I have a different rule set. And that's great that you have yours. I'm not here to change or control you, but I'm letting you know that I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet. And this is my moral, ethical fabric of how I'm living. And again, you can choose to come over on my side. And it's so funny that people actually start to find that attractive. Like, oh, she actually isn't scared and she's not judging herself and doesn't have all of this harshness on her. It's like, you know what? I can be very open, and people find that, I don't know, kind of empowering, if you will, because I'm not scared. There's nothing to be scared of as far as an emotion goes. I don't hide behind walls and say, I'm upset or I'm angry. It's like, figure that out and what's going on. If I can figure out, and my body tells me instantaneously, and I was taught through lots of different avenues to ignore that. And so it's like, man, my back really hurts. What's going on? Oh, I'm feeling a lot of stress. Okay, like, use these tools. They're here for our disposal. Why we have to minimize or disassociate, hide it under the carpet. That's another really big one through people. Ignore it and it will go away. I've never had that be successful. It's kind of like, well, I have a problem. I'm going to decide to go drink, and yay, that problem goes away. Like, no, if anything, it's now worse. Much better to tackle it on. I am more scared of not tackling it and let it continuing to fester. So it's breaking down those stereotypes and judgments of whatever you're feeling. Embrace it, accept it, honor it, don't judge it, work through it, and ask for help. I tell people all the time, man, if you are struggling, call me, text me, let me know. Like, I am here to listen or talk or come sit with you or hold you while you cry. And I'll go to a combat class and you can go beat the heck out of something. Like, do something to work through it and learn. Sorry, there's my little rampage.
And it's so true. Don't judge yourself, right? Like the black sheep, that's viewed as a bad thing. I'm now proud of that, right? Like I am different, and that's a strength, right? If we challenge these ideas, why, is it true? Is it true that being different is wrong, bad, yucky? Really not.
For sure. I think being unique is pretty amazing. This world would be really boring if we were all cookie cutters and we'd have nothing to talk about. Like, I love it that way. Let's go explore that. Let's talk about it. That's how we learn. My kiddo, man, if he were here, he'd be firing off 58 questions. And I'm like, it's so great to have all of that knowledge coming into your world.
And I say all the time, please don't be offended, but let's look at the world with a child's curiosity. I'm not saying that to be insulting, but if only, right? They have no fear. They just ask, but why don't we? And we just assume these things that we're told or we believe to be true. And if we came at it with curiosity instead of acceptance or judgment, then we can look at it differently. And even these conversations, some people don't have them. Just ask me, what's anxiety like? I am happy to have any conversation about it. For anyone who doesn't know, doesn't understand, just wants to learn or say, is it really like what I see in the movies? I don't believe in panic attack. Anything. Ask what a kid would ask. I'm fine with that because they have no fear. And sometimes they might say it the wrong way, but we end up having the conversation.
Exactly. I talked about that this morning at the gym when I told the same gal that I shared with you about what can we really control. And it is the curiosity, this innocence, the pure love. And I remind myself every day the amount of patience and unconditional love and grace and understanding that he hasn't figured out the world yet. I want to have that for myself. And it just warms my heart to think about that. Why we as adults don't have that same that we would have for an animal or for a child, because we know that they're learning. So are we. We just have a different number in front of us. It doesn't mean that we can't learn and we can't understand something differently or want to have connections or ask questions or discover something new. There's always something else in life that we can uncover. I love, it's so funny that you talked about they don't have the fear yet. So we went to the zoo this past summer, and you have all these, the little kiddos are up there with a spider, and all the little kids are up there and wanting to go touch him, and all the adults are going, oh, we don't want to touch the spider, we're scared. They don't know yet, and I'm like, God, look at that curiosity, and they want to know. They don't know it's going to hurt them. Is it going to hurt them? I don't know. Uncovering and being open, honest, and real.
And I love that you said, I tell people, reach out, call me, lean on me. That's not something you're just saying because you said it to me this week. I also say that to people. I don't say it because it sounds good. I truly mean it, right? And a lot of people don't follow up on it, but the ones that do realize, oh my God, like you meant that. And I'm so glad I did. And they then learn that it's not a weakness, it's a strength. And I think it trickles down. I think they pass that on, and we learn. If I reach out to someone, I teach them that they can also reach out, and we can change this perception that it's a weakness into what it should be. I cannot physically or emotionally do everything in this world by myself.
That's true. I used to think I could. A lot of my 20s, but definitely my 30s. And now I'm like, I need some help lifting. But it is one person at a time, and it's not a weakness. I don't even know where that started or why that stigma is out there. It's so much more fun to be going towards a goal with someone else and to have the support system. I mean, it's a team for a reason. It's a support system. And yes, we can do a lot of it ourselves. My dear friends, I have a few that like to suffer alone. And I'm like, why? I'm just going to keep calling you and come show up at your doorstep and be like, hey, I'm here. I have some food. Do you want to talk? Every single human being goes through emotions, and being hurt and sad and depressed is a very normal human emotion. It's how we express. We have this wide array of life, and I would be scared if we didn't. If we were happy all the time, boy, I don't think I'd learn anything. I love being happy. I love having joy. And I also really love having sadness and grief, because those times really, when it was really dark, and boy, did I reach out a lot. I'm so glad I did, especially with my son 5 years ago. I was in a lot of different, very bad spots. I was very, very depressed. And I didn't know what to do. I felt so helpless and totally out of control and blaming myself, and which was several different people, friends and family and people in recovery. And I just said, I just need to vent or just cry. And I did that a whole bunch. And or go take my mind off it. Can I disassociate for 10 minutes and just take a break, or go walk outside? There's so many different tools that I think people forget about. It's I've loved discovering new things. Like for me, I physically, when I work out, is awesome. People love nature. It's to be outside and walk or go talk with a friend, sit on a bench and go to a park somewhere, or um, go to yoga, or there's so many different outlets. Read a book, journal. You've talked about that. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm sitting in my library here and I have a lot of journals because it's how you process a safe way, do it. So I love kickboxing too. I love just pounding the crap out of something.
And you're talking about things that are even harder, like reaching out emotionally. I have a friend right now, I'm going to use an example. You know, I love you if you're watching or listening, but literally physically injured right now, stitches, in a sling. And she will tell you, I'm stubborn. I want to do it myself. I'm not letting my husband help me. I want to open the can of spaghetti sauce by myself. Why? Like, why do we do it to ourselves? That's an example of where we can literally see we are making our life harder than it has to be. But then there are these emotional examples or these harder to see examples when we do it all the time. Life is hard enough.
I agree. Why add it? So I have to check my ego at the door a lot because when my pride is hurt and my ego is hurt, I will lash out. And I'm really quick at, I still do it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I said something and it has nothing to do with you. That has to do with me, that my ego just got smashed. And now I'm feeling insecure or not confident. And it's exactly, why can't we ask for help? That's what it goes back to. I can do this by myself, or a notion of I can do it better than somebody else can. All those three things probably aren't true when speaking from myself. I'm really happy to delegate. And it's not that I could do it better or worse. They're going to go do it in their own way. Thank God. It's one less thing for me to have to go worry about. And I'm kind of with your friend here, and this is my own pride. If I physically am hurt, blood clot is a great example. I had it for 3 months when I was pregnant, and I worked every single day with the blood clot. That was not smart. If there was something I look back on, I'm like, boy, that was really dangerous. Why, again, it goes back to what would I tell my friend? If a friend called me saying, hey, I have a blood clot and I'm pregnant and I'm in a lot of pain, I would say, get your butt on the couch and go find really good doctors and figure out what's going on. And why I didn't do that for I can do this, right? I don't care if I'm in pain, but the truth that, yeah, it's okay to ask for help. Stop. It can be much easier. So yeah, I've been on both sides of that a lot. And I'm learning day by day that it's okay to delegate. It's okay to ask for help.
If people are connecting with you thinking, whoa, you know, I would want to reach out, how can they connect with you?
Oh, that's great. I'm all over Facebook. I'm all over everywhere. So yeah, personally, yeah, I'm on my personal Facebook, Sara Duke Matthews. For the radio station, my email is Sara, SARA, at K for COradio.com. So they can email me. They can find us on Facebook. So yeah, those are probably the three best ways to get in touch. So yeah, for personal, yeah, through recovery. For the radio station is so amazing. We love having you affiliated. It is so awesome. It's such a huge gift. This to me is the biggest gift. You know, yes, it's a business, and every business, of course, has to survive. But to me, it's about the community. And I knew that going in. And I said that last year before we started. I'm like, I'm going to bring in nonprofits and I'm bringing in community, because that to me is the backbone of every business, and it won't survive without it. And it's all about the connections and relationships and how can we help each other. I don't know how businesses survive without it. And man, it'd be boring if that element wasn't a part of it. So, But yeah, if anybody, company or a business, I mean, we do interviews a whole bunch, which are really fun. We've had authors and nonprofits and small restaurant owners come in. And people, of course, are endorsing if they want to get more advertising, get more clients, get more customers. We offer endorsements. And we help with social media too, which is really, really awesome. We help with Instagram and Facebook and follow people and repost and make connections and say, you should go talk with this person and see if they can open up some doors. And we love being out in the community. Like we'll be with Foundation 1010 this evening. We're going to be broadcasting live at several different concerts. I hope we go to your event in August. So that's what we do. Meet new people, help people.
And usually, somebody's having an offer or a website or something, but this is just connect with Sara if you want to, if you felt like she was someone you'd want to talk to. You really just do things out of the goodness of your heart. And you guys are everywhere. You were in Vail recently. They go everywhere. So don't feel like you have to be in Denver. If you're in Colorado, you really will go anywhere, right?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. We'll cover the entire state. Yep. And our radio station is streaming. It's an app that you download and listen online. So yeah, we cover 98% of our listeners are in Colorado, but we cover the entire state. So wherever you are, if you want to advertise, let us know. We'd love to help you.
Is there anything I forgot?
We covered a whole bunch. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I openly talk about mental health being different here than it is in Michigan, and I don't love that. I ask anyone I meet who's from Colorado, which is rare. I meet more people from Michigan. Am I seeing something inaccurately? Please help me. You are changing my experience entirely. So it is sometimes who you know and having connections, which is so important anyway in life. We can't live on an island. You're introducing me to people who are becoming amazing friends. It's not about the connection business wise. It's really opening doors like personally as well. So I am changing my views, thankfully. But it's been an entirely different experience just in a short amount of time. So thank you for caring about me as a human, and all. You really do get invested. You told me I go above and beyond. I really think you guys do too.
Well, thank you. No, you do too. I agree. It's why I love talking one-on-one with people. It's like, tell me about your life. I want to know what makes you tick. And absolutely, it's a business. I don't even look at it as a business connection. It's a connection. I want to know not your heart and soul, but I want to know about you and why you're the person you are, and help each other. That is at the forefront. And no, it's such a pleasure and a gift to get to know you. And I agree. Thank you I know breaking down walls is hard. And so I know that you are doing it one brick at a time. And I appreciate it so wholeheartedly. I am so proud of our community. And I don't just mean Colorado specifically, but just people that are changing the world. It is quite the journey. And for those that can take it on, all the power to you. So thank you for everything that you do. Should be boosting the Ruthless Show and Samantha Ruth and being the am I allowed to swear? Can I say ass on your show? Kick butt, you are helping people through. Boy, that's pretty amazing stuff right there too.
Connect with Sara, connect with K4CO. Check out what's tonight's.
Oh, it's Foundation 1010.
Foundation 1010.
Yes. Leslie and Brooke are the founders of Foundation 1010. It's an Emporium Brewing this evening from 7 to 9 downtown Denver. It's bingo. K4CO will be broadcasting live with really great music, prizes, fun, drinks, and it's supporting the community. It's supporting our first responders who go out and risk their lives every day as police officers and firefighters, and their families will be there. It'll be awesome. So it'll be fun and helping a great cause.
Thank you so much for making time. Until next time, everyone, always be ruthless.